Welcome back to another episode of Goblin-Sighting D&D. I'm your DM. These are the Children of Neverwinter. When last we left, you had located the Crypt Keeper. After a harrowing battle with the defenders of the dungeon, you had managed to teleport out. You had gotten the Crypt Keeper safely to the Temple of Bazaar, where he was healed of the effects of the gas spell he had been under. He then told you that he had not had the key for a while, that it had been taken by the Down Keelhammer, a pirate in the employ of House Panzarin, and that he could not actually open the vault, the crypt that he guarded, that only a member of House Caraval could do so. And as you guys were preparing to pursue Captain Keelhammer and the Sea Hag's Kiss to the Moonshay Isles in the Coran Archipelago, you received an urgent message from one of your Victor and Elizabeth's contacts through the Lord's Alliance, informing you of a rampaging orc warband that had erupted to the east and was reportedly working with a ancient black dragon.
Ancient, I thought it was just old.
Adult black dragon, my
Adult.
mistake.
Yes.
Slip of the tongue. And now you have a choice to make, whether to pursue Captain Keelhammer and let the dragon and the orcs ravage the eastern sector of the Sword Coast, or to pursue the warband and confront the dragon, and let Captain Keelhammer wait. So what are your choices? All right, what is your choice?
I don't like having coast ravaged.
Well, I would concur, and the seems to me that Captain Keelhammer is already back at his island. It would make sense that he's not going to be ravaging anything. He's going to hide the key and do what he does normally. He's not doing anything extraordinary. So
Sure, you could decide to go on an adventure, leave the key there, and then it makes it simpler.
he could unguardedly
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
shock. That would be.
Well, of course.
we would love
Do I
that.
expect it to happen?
Wait a minute. What's the line?
Never talking from the DM. Never discuss your plans in front of the DM. The DM is listening and taking notes.
The other piece is everything was what's his.
I've never known anything to leave us alone.
Right, so I don't think that's going to work in this particular case, and we also shouldn't be talking about, well, I mean, if you want to take notes on that one, we're good with that. That would be fine. A totally unguarded pirate island with signs pointing
Yeah,
towards
take
the
it
key.
over. I mean, go.
So I think we should go help
Okay.
against the orc. and
I don't
dragon.
really like fighting an adult black dragon, but now this is just a second. We've got time to prepare for this. Black dragons are poison?
Acid.
Acid. Do we have the ability to pick up something to make any of us resistance to acid while we're there?
Protection from energy.
I don't have protection from energy. I have protection.
Prepare it, no?
No doubt. I could prepare that. Yes.
You have at least one long rest, which means another day. We'll
Yeah.
mark that off on the
Yeah.
calendar. It's a we'll call it a 1 second. It's a 5-day ride by horseback.
Can
To
I prepare at the
the
same
location.
time that we ride?
Yes.
Cool.
So it's 5 days.
Okay.
So you have 5 encampments where you can
Yes.
choose and prepare, and you can spend, I would certainly say, an hour or two, or the 4 hours that you don't require,
Right.
for rest. Rongir can work on potentially learning some spells
Yes, that would be
if you wanted to
particular.
pick up some of the parchment and inks required prior to leading Waterdeep. He could spend the 4 hours that he's not resting due to his trance ability,
Right.
and go learn some new spells.
Let me see if I can
If
find
that's
the
something
card.
you
in
want
here.
to do.
I think that would be.
Anything to protect me that would work well against a dragon.
Edra, protection from energy is
Hello, not here. Do we have a card for that, or is it something from a different source?
protection from energy is a 3rd level abjuration. I'm going to check and see if it happens. protection from energy. You have access to it,
Okay, cool.
in theory.
Yeah, I don't have a card.
For the duration, up to 1 hour on concentration,
I do have a card for it.
the creature you touch has resistance to 1 damage type of your choice: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder.
So,
You have 1 person you can do that to. My advice:
yes.
do it to the wizard.
Wizard, that's what I was going to say.
Because, or you, do it to one of the 2 of you, because Victor has the breastplate dragon guard, which gives him natural resistance to all forms of draconic breath weapons.
Okay.
In hindsight, I'm not 100% sure why he did the whole fire and poison thing, but they're the 2 most common forms of damage dealt at general
Yeah.
in the world of D&D, so I think that's why we did it.
Yeah, I
And
think so
then,
too. We kind of debated it.
Lisbeth is tanky. Not as tanky as Victor, but she can withstand a hit or 2.
Okay.
And then Finnan has evasion. So
Yeah.
unless it's if it's a dex-based
Mm-hmm.
attack, which I don't know if it is, then he's got that. If not, he's cooked. If he gets caught. But so I would say one of you 2.
Yeah.
The other thing
and
is
the
that
rogue stays away.
at a distance, the 2 of us can possibly do damage to the dragon. No one else can do anything until they get close. I'm sorry.
Can you turn the volume down a little bit?
So honestly, yes. It's a question of whether you want Lisbeth to get resistance while she's up in space,
Right.
or whether you want the spellcaster to get stuff so the glass cannon doesn't.
Would you like a suggestion?
Get
Yes?
You can put it under your leg on the chair and it will mute it quite significantly, but I will still be able to hear it.
so,
Well, this is a bit of a
or
debate.
you, because you're the healer.
Right. So my debate piece here is we are probably going to hang back, although the dragon can pop up and fly at any moment, so it's not really, we're not necessarily
Range is
safer.
not as
Right.
much of a safety factor
Right.
as it is with ground-bound opponents.
Right.
Now, initially, unless your fireball manages to wipe them all out, Victor and Elizabeth are going to be hacking up orcs. And you hear that? That's a click of a pause button. So the there's that. They're not going to be focused on the dragon initially. Finn is going to be running around on the outskirts.
Mm-hmm.
If I'd had a little bit more time, I would have given you guys a party of soldiers to go with you, but I didn't have much time. I was hoping to.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'd like, I can try and scramble up some quick reinforcements to kind of help you guys, but well, reports say somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 orcs. At least 2 or 3 ogres have been reported working with them. And then there's been something else that's been with them, but they're not 100% sure what it is.
Wait a minute, but we did hear about the dragon.
The dragon is
If
for
they've
sure.
had any
It's an
magic
orc,
thing,
but it doesn't behave like a normal orc.
which means it's probably some kind of wizard orc.
Possibly.
Whew, yeah. I definitely want to work on. I definitely want to work on that. It's definitely something we need to have. I need to have in the arsenal.
And
So
I
you
have
can
no
learn
way
that
of doing
after a
it.
long rest.
Okay.
I don't have any way of do any of the spells that I could acquire grant protection.
I will check and see if you have the spell resistance.
Ooh, that would be good. How about something that would keep me from being banished? Although that would take a lot of fun.
No. Remove curse. You can also take protection from energy. I would say it's not necessarily something you want to do simply because it takes you time and money to learn it, and she can just take a rest and chit chat with her god and get it,
Yeah.
and then put it away for later. If you want to buy it, that's totally
Well, where I was
And-
coming from is she could then protect one person, and I could protect one person.
So you can learn
How long does it take?
protection from. It takes protection from energy takes. It's a 3rd level abjuration, so that takes. I believe I said 2 hours and 50 gold per level. If I'm not mistaken.
And abjuration means that it doesn't get affected by a concentration spell.
No, abjuration means that it is not an evocation spell,
Okay.
meaning it is not affected by your
And what is it
evocation
called?
savant. Protection from energy, meaning it will cost you 6 hours and 150 gold pieces worth of fine inks and parchments to copy it. If it had been something evocation related, then that would mean that it would take only half that. But since it's an abjuration, which is more of a protection spell, as opposed to evocation, which is usually elemental damage deal.
It was 150?
150 gold, and it will take a total of 6 hours. So you can do that quite well. And then you'll have 4, 8, 12, 16. You'll have approximately 14 more hours of time if you want to learn another kind of spell.
I've got an awful lot of them that I haven't really gotten the hang of yet.
And
I think
don't
I'm-
forget, also, have all these to look through.
Well,
So, War magic.
and what I have now is Crown of Madness,
Uh-huh.
Hypnotic Patterns, Phantasmal Force,
Wow.
Adalut's
Brazilian
Resilient
sphere.
Sparer.
Sphere.
I spelled it S-P-A-R-E-R. Gaze,
Mhm.
which is what the Crypt Keeper had on him, right?
Correct.
Okay. Otto's an Irresistible Dance,
Mhm.
Color Spray, Total Tongue Awareness?
Total tongue awareness.
Huh?
Yes.
I don't remember what that is, but that's okay.
Exactly what it
Manual
says.
breathing.
It's pretty much surface level.
Yeah.
Manual breathing, again, a pretty surface level spell.
Itchy Bones,
Mhm.
Instant Brazilian Wax,
Yes.
Nethers to Stone.
Correct. And these ones are not ones that you have copied in yet. These are ones that are in the other wizard's spellbook
Okay, so
that you can copy.
okay, so this one I have copied, so I'm going to start.
Additionally, just because I can tell you all this because I'm horrible that way, you have access, should you desire to learn them, with a little bit of looking around, an investigation check to find someone who will teach you them, and the money to copy them. You can learn Tasha's Caustic Brew, Summon Beast, Tasha's Mind Whip, Intellect Fortress, Spirit Shroud, Summon Fae, Summon Shadowspawn, Summon Undead, Summon Aberration, Summon Construct, Summon Elemental, Summon Celestial, Summon Fiend, Tasha's Otherworldly Guise, Dream of the Blue Veil, and Blade Disaster.
And sometime we'll go through that. And
Yes.
It'll
At
explain
another
it to me,
time,
but yeah.
yes. Just know that those spells do exist. That's an explosion radius marker.
Did I move it out of place?
I'll move it back when I need to. But, so you have a total of 14 spare hours to do something, whether that be construct potions or learn spells.
How much does it take for me to do, I can make potions, I can make
Correct.
more healing potions, which
Correct.
would not be a bad thing.
Correct. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and how many? We've got to get this stuff out of there. How long does it take? How long does it take for one potion? And how? Like what level? I don't know how many we have, quite frankly.
Healing potions? I do. 1 minute.
Because I made some for us already.
So we have, I'll put 1 potion of superior healing.
Each?
1.
Total.
I have 1. I don't know if anybody else has
That's
one.
what I-
believe everyone should
Have
have
one,
one.
I believe so.
If I look here,
We have 3 potions of growth, 1 potion of diminution, 3 doses of eye black, 4 potions of healing. This is extra on top of what everybody
Yes.
personally carries.
yes.
1 potion of healing, another potion of healing, 5 potions of greater healing. We each took 1.
Victor has two greater potions of healing and one potion of superior healing. I'm assuming that everyone has the same.
Yeah.
Everybody should have the same.
So 2 greater, 1 superior should be
And,
what you
and
have.
then on top of that, we have this list here of stuff that we bought at some point in time just to keep in the.
So,
in the
what level
purse.
healing do we need if we're going to fight a dragon?
Well, that's not something you can adequately quantify, unfortunately. It really
Big.
depends on how lucky or unlucky you get in evading their breath, their tail, their claws, and their teeth.
How long does it? I guess what does the superior cost me?
So, the superior healing is out of your reach
Oh,
because
I
it
thought-
takes
Oh,
4 work weeks
Oh, okay.
worth of time.
what can I make in the time that I've got?
I would say you can make 1 to 2 regular healing potions.
Why don't I do 2 regulars?
Okay.
I also
How
have a
much does that
wand of
cost?
healing with 5 charges still on it,
Uh-huh.
and 2 potions of greater healing, and another potion of superior healing. Wow.
Yes.
So we're-
Everyone should have 2 potions of greater healing and 1 potion of superior healing.
But there's one in the group.
Yes.
We have an extra floating around.
Yes.
So.
So, it
How
will
many
cost
gold?
you 25 gold pieces per
Total?
potion of healing.
So that's 50, so that's easy to get rid of. Thank you. So down to near 7,000. And we just added 2 regular healing.
Yes.
At this point in time, we can use them with a little less need to husband them.
Mhm. I'll say that the regular healing potions are a little bit more to be used. And honestly, within reason, as long as the party member is able to fund. I'll say this: if a party member drinks a potion, they fund
It's replacement.
your work to replace it.
Oh, okay.
So, if, for example, Finnan drinks his superior healing potion, he has to fork over 10 grand because it takes 4 work weeks and 10,000 gold to make that's a supreme, I think, or superior, regardless, one of the 2. It's 1,000 gold pieces, excuse me.
Oh.
3 work weeks and 1,000 for superior. So if Victor drinks his superior, he has to give you 1,000 gold pieces
Did I make it?
to get you to make another one for him.
Oh, okay.
And it will be cheaper than buying one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, I believe. Regardless,
We checked that last time.
yeah, it was like about half
Yes.
the amount.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you guys want to do on the 5-day journey to the last known area where the orcs were rampaging.
I was thinking of Heroes Feast, but we have to do it much closer to our arrival.
That's more of a night before the battle kind of thing.
Okay.
You track the orcs, you find the orcs, you prepare to give battle on the morning,
Okay.
and you consume the hero's feast right before you go to fight.
So I would like to keep that in everybody's back of their minds.
In the 4 days between then and now, is there anything else you guys want to do?
Is there something that Victor or Elizabeth is aware of that perhaps that we're not focused on at the moment? Looking at other things that they could say, hey, have you thought of ABC?
Well, I'm thinking on it for a second. Let us think for a moment. I need to check and see if commune is a thing to burn spells on, or if that's. I think commune you get a burn. Commune. So this is a 5th level divination, ritual capable spell, known as commune. You need incense and a vial of holy water. The casting time is between 1 and 11 minutes. 1 minute if you use a spell slot, 11 if you cast it ritually. Duration 1 minute. You contact your deity or a divine proxy and ask up to 3 questions that can be answered with a yes or no. You must ask your questions before the spell ends. You receive a correct answer for each question. Divine beings aren't necessarily omniscient, so you might receive unclear as an answer if the question pertains to information that lies beyond the deity's knowledge. In the case where a one-word answer could be misleading or contrary to the deity's interests, the DM might offer a short phrase as an answer instead. If you cast the spell 2 or more times before finishing your next long rest, there is a cumulative 25% chance for each casting after the first that you get no answer. The DM makes this roll in secret.
So this is the, what was that called? The Magic 8 Ball of D&D.
Pretty much.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I can certainly imagine that we would have. Can you do this in the height of battle, or is this to be done before you are fighting?
Well, I
Risky
personally
to me.
would not advise it, because if you cast it, even if you cast it using a 5th level spell slot, it'll take you 10 rounds. If you cast it without that, it'll take you 110 rounds.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we don't want to do that.
So
we want to do this like somewhere on our journey.
That's what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
You asked if there was
Uh-huh.
something that you
Yep.
wanted to
Right.
do
Yeah.
along the way, and you have access to the commune spell, so you could use that. I don't know whether you want to use the divine intervention before the fight, because divine intervention means you can call on your deity to intervene on your behalf when your need is great. Imploring your deity's aid requires you to use your action, describe the assistance you seek, and roll percentile dice. If you roll a number equal to or lower than your cleric level, your deity intervenes. The DM chooses the nature of the intervention. The effect of any cleric spell or domain spell will be appropriate. If your deity intervenes, you cannot use this feature again for 7 days, otherwise you can use it again after you finish a long rest. So, I don't know what you would be looking for with a divine intervention, per se, but I just want you to remember you have access to that thing. So, that's something you can try to do once per long rest until it works. So you have to roll I think it's either a 13 or a 14 or lower.
Because
Um,
we're level.
Because we are 14th level characters, you have to roll equal to or lower. So you have to roll a 14 or lower on the percentile die.
Okay.
Meaning you have to roll a 0, 0, or a 1 on the double digit dice, or a 10, the 1, 0, and then a 4 or lower on the d10 in order to.
Does it cost me a spell slot every time I roll?
No, what happens is you can only, like I said, you can only do it once per long rest.
Right.
It's not a spell, it's a thing.
Okay.
It's your hotline to your god.
Right.
It's your 911 call.
Right.
But the line is busy, so you have to see
Keep trying.
if they're going to put you on hold for a long rest.
Right. Ooh.
Once they've answered, you can't call them again for 7 days.
Gotcha.
Which is why I don't know what you would want to use it for specifically. Typically, players will use it in the heat of battle to call for some kind of divine assistance to turn the tide, such as a high level spell or domain action, or some kind of extraplanar intervention in the form of an angel or other entity coming down to do battle on your behalf.
Do I have the ability to do that?
That's part of divine intervention. That the DM
Gotcha.
the DM decides, but you can ask specifically for something,
Mm-hmm.
and then the DM can figure out if that's something that the divine intervention would answer.
Mm-hmm.
But typically, it's something like calling down a spell, or actual, maybe possibly, depending on how dire the need is, even an avatar of your god to fight for you.
Wow. Wow.
Exactly. So
This
that's
is
why
when I
it's-
go to temple. He's on good speaking relationship.
So, but you have to roll a 14 or lower in order to get it.
So if
So-
you rolled a 9, that would 2.
You roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, or 14. You're fine. Once you hit level
Okay.
20, it auto succeeds.
Oh.
When you
Oh.
hit level 20 as a player,
Wow.
it auto succeeds, meaning you don't have to roll, but again, you have to wait a week
Yeah.
for it to come back around.
Well,
In the interim, you have to make the call, roll the dice. If you fail, 15 or higher,
right.
then you have to wait for until after the next long rest.
So
If you
basically,
succeed-
once per battle, I could give it a try.
once per
Day-ish. Yeah.
day-ish.
Right. Oh, well, I'm going to put that in the old back pocket
Mhm.
because if it happened to work and we're needing
Exactly.
more time we're doing to
Something
come
to
fight
happen,
for
whether
us.
it be meteor swarm, flame strike. You could even potentially you could pretty much call for just about any kind of spell or domain feature to happen, or something like an extraplanar entity coming down to do battle on your path. So then commune is basically playing 3 questions, yes or no, with your deity. If you do it 2 or more times before finishing your next long rest, there's a cumulative 25% chance for each casting after the first you get no answer. So it's wise to only do it 1 or 2 times.
once a day, maybe, because we have
Something
4
like
days.
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So then you just figure out what questions that can have a yes or no answer you want to ask,
yeah.
and then marathon are doing answers.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be wasting it, but one thing that comes to mind is, where are our future
Nope, that's not a
opponents?
yes or that's not
Well,
a yes or no.
that would be wasted because it would be a non-yes or no question. So
Yeah.
that what you could attempt to ascertain that knowledge by saying something in the neighborhood: are they close to us?
Yeah.
Do they know where we are?
Uh-huh.
Are they near a landmark that we can find easily? Naming the landmark, of course, not just saying are they near a landmark we can find easily, because that would just be stupid. Because they would
Do
say
you know
yes
any
or no,
landmarks? Yeah, right.
and then you would have to find out what landmark. You'd have to just play 20 questions.
Right, again.
Is it this landmark? Is it this landmark?
Right.
Is it this landmark?
Do we know any
um,
landmarks in the area?
That is an excellent question.
Yes.
So let me look at the map really fast to see where you guys are. Oh, Trump, you're in Waterdeep, so 5 days. Stop, find the high marks. the Evermores. I think.
Do we know this?
No, it would not be the Evermores. Sorry, it's too far away. It's the Evermores. That and look for Evermores. So it's the edge of Primal.
Is that where they were reported to be?
Yeah.
So our question could be something along the lines, are they still near the edge of the High Moors?
Yeah, something like that. Or like other, you could figure out other things along the way, but basically something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I could probably come up with 3 questions, at least one day's worth of questions.
Yeah. You've got about 15 questions you can ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah. It's difficult when you have a plan and then the map doesn't cooperate.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Regardless, you have about, if you choose to ask a question every day,
Mm-hmm.
or if you choose to cast Commune every single day,
Right.
then you can get up to 15 questions, yes or no.
Cool. I've got 2. I don't know if you guys have any questions you want to ask, but I think as far as their location is.
And it doesn't just have to be pertaining to,
Oh.
it can be about just about anything you want.
Oh, okay.
It's just a question of,
Useful.
I mean, blowing rock wasn't fun. Okay.
Yeah, so we want something
It can be
useful.
just about anything you want to ask.
Alright. This is not a future telling deity?
Akhtamardun is a god of, I told you a while back, but
Yeah, but I mean, he's a god. So can he do things besides just what his I will call his purview, so to speak.
so theoretically you can ask questions and then see from that what his knowledge base runs to. He's the god of wanderers, the patrons of dwarves who left the clan holds to explore the world.
That's me.
Yes. He's the finder of trails. Yeah.
Okay. Well, do we want to? Does anybody? The first question I want to ask, at least at this point in time, and I may ask it again as we get closer, is there a spellcaster among them?
Okay, so as you prepare your area for that, kind of let your eyes close as you sit on the ground.
Before we, I wanted to put out to the party. That was a question that I had.
Okay.
Did anybody else in the party have a question for early on in the process? And then, yeah, I'll get the.
Is the extra person or being a spellcaster.
So you're going to specify only limiting it to the extra being, so 2 questions about us. If yes, then we'll ask it if it's the
Oh,
yes
okay.
question. Is that the follow-up question to the first one?
So her question was, is there a spellcaster among the orc war band?
Okay.
So, but if
What
it says
questions
yes,
do you have to add to that question?
so if Martimer Duin says yes, and that's a great follow-up question.
Yeah, you could then say something like, are there more than 3, or something like that.
More than 3.
Spellcasters. If, as a follow-up question, you could try and determine if we're outnumbered in spellcasters.
If there's 3, you're technically outnumbered in spellcasters, because there's only 2 of you.
If there's more than 2, then, or you could ask, are they of a higher level than us?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just.
Are they more skilled than us? Yeah.
Are they more skilled than us?
If it says no, then what would be a different tack you might want to take?
Well, we've got one, the being that we don't know what it is,
Yeah.
is,
The orc that does not behave like an orc.
The orc that does not behave like an orc is the one that concerns me. And, but I'm trying to think of a yes or no question. You know, getting the magic 8-ball to answer your questions was sometimes
Very
difficult.
true.
Much easier on Ouija.
I did it, but you did.
It's high school.
So how can we craft a question regarding that, the behavior of the half-orc? Is the behavior...
It's not a half orc. It's an orc that does not behave.
Right, sorry. The orc.
See, we don't even know how it does not behave like an orc. We know that it doesn't behave like a normal orc, but we don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Am I correct in my assessment that orcs are basically killing machines?
For that, I'm going to turn to the Tones of War, because I don't want to mess this up.
Okay.
Orcs are burly raiders with prominent lower canines that resemble tusks. They gather in tribes that exert their dominance and satisfy their bloodlust by plundering villages, devouring or driving off roaming herds, and slaying any humanoids who stand against them. After savaging a settlement, orcs pick it clean of wealth and items usable in their own lands. They set the remains of villages and camps ablaze, then retreat once they came their bloodlust satisfied. Anything else you wanted to know would have to be a history check.
So immediately. Let's see. Ooh, plus 0. Not gonna get anything from that.
Okay. You remember from your studies in the temples of Ogma, when you were studying to be a wizard, that orcs worship Grumsh, the mightiest of the orc deities and their creator. The orcs believe that in ancient days the gods gathered to divide the world among their followers. When Grumsh claimed the mountains, he learned they had been taken by the dwarves. He laid claim to the forests, but those had been settled by the elves. Each place that Grumsh wanted had already been claimed. The other gods laughed at Grumsh, but he responded with a furious bellow. Grasping his mighty spear, he laid waste to the mountains, set the forests aflame, and carved great furrows in the fields. Such was the role of the orcs, he proclaimed, to take and destroy all that the other races would deny them. To this day, the orcs wage an endless war on humans, elves, dwarves, and other folk. They hold a particular hatred for elves. The elven god Corlan Larathian half-blinded Grumsh with a well-placed arrow to the orc god's eye. Since then, the orcs have taken particular joy in slaughtering elves.
So I guess my question might be, is the unusual behavior, does it show intelligence or something like that?
They're not stupid,
Okay.
if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
I mean, they're no mental giants, but they know enough to they're somewhere in the neighborhood of the orcs from Lord of the Rings. They're not master strategists
Right.
by and large. Occasionally an orc chieftain or orog will rise who possesses greater intelligence than normal and will lead a warband
Right.
by virtue of his intelligence. They're no Sun Tzu or Hannibal, but they are the orc war chiefs or orogs are typically capable of garnering enough strategy to be able to not just bull rush into whatever scenario they're going up against. They'll occasionally try to send out scouts. They will actually put some kind of a strategy together once battle is joined.
Is
And
he
if
a
they're-
leader? Is a good question.
That's a question.
My question is, would if there occasionally arises one, then that's not really not unusual orcish behavior necessarily.
Yeah. With your 16, you know that there are orcs who are occasionally granted certain. It's blurry at this point. The details are fuzzy. You weren't paying attention to this part particularly well, but there's orcs that have a greater communion with Grumsh and are granted something in exchange. There is some kind of bargain struck between them and Grumsh.
Again, so that
But
would
the
happen.
Orog or the chief, or an Orog or a war chief would not be necessarily an orc who does not behave like an orc.
Right.
It would simply be an orc who is leading a
Right.
warband by virtue of his greater might and intellect.
Do dragons sometimes enthrall beings?
Typically they don't enthrall them with enchantment magic so much as, typically the ones that do are typically green dragons. They're typically the more intelligent. Black dragons, roll me a history check. Or nature. Either one is fine.
Well, it's 19 plus 5, so it's
I got
24?
18.
24.
18 plus
18. I get 0 plus 0.
on your nature?
Nature's plus 0, and my history is plus 0.
Oh, that sucks.
I know. So that's why I didn't get anything last time.
So you got 18, and you got 24. So you know that black dragons are the most evil, tempered, and vile of the
Ooh.
chromatic dragons.
Ooh.
They collect the wreckage and treasures of fallen peoples. They loathe seeing the weak prosper, revel in the collapse of humanoid kingdoms, and make their homes in fetid swamps and crumbling ruins where kingdoms once stood. All chromatic dragons are evil, but black dragons stand apart for their sadistic nature. A black dragon lives to watch its prey beg for mercy and will often offer the illusion of respite or escape before finishing off its enemies. It strikes at its weakest enemies first, ensuring a quick and brutal victory which bolsters the ego as it terrifies its remaining foes. On the verge of defeat, a black dragon does anything it can to save itself, but it accepts death before allowing any other creature to claim mastery over it. They hate and fear other dragons. They, evil lizard folk venerate and serve black dragons. Kobolds will infest the lairs of many black dragons like vermin. And then, around here, you know that black dragons hoard the treasures and magic items of crumbled empires and conquered kingdoms to remind themselves of their greatness. The more civilizations a dragon outlasts, the more entitled it feels to claim the wealth of current civilizations for itself.
Mhm. Wow. Okay, so we've got a really
This one's only an adult. So, typically, it's over 100 years, but less than 800 years old.
okay. Well,
Once a dragon tops 801 years old, then it becomes known as an ancient dragon. This one is probably somewhere between 1 and 800. So yeah, we're probably dealing with a dragon between 1 and 800 years old.
Mercy. Okay.
A mere teenager.
Well, we know that
Adults.
part about it, so
The teenagers would be the young dragons,
Right.
which are 6 to 100 years old.
Oh, okay. And then there's the babies.
Wormlings are 5 years or less.
Okay, so then I guess if we come up with questions based on what we are told, but we can probably proceed if the answer is no, there's no spellcasters among them. If we get a solid yes or a solid no, is it a solid yes or a solid no?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
If Martha Mardoon doesn't know, then he will return an unclear message.
very good, very good.
Or a maybe.
That's all right. That's perfectly fine. So we have
Remember, gods are not omniscient.
right.
And anything that falls out of their purview may not be something they know.
Yeah, right. So, but it's worth asking because it doesn't really cost me anything, and I've got the ability to do it.
Plus, in an event where you're hoarding your spell slots, but you want to cast Commune, which you can do that basically every day,
Yeah.
you can cast it for a ritual spell, so it takes 11 minutes to do it.
Let's do that.
So you don't have to do that while we're riding out to
Right.
battle, because we are going to take long rests.
Right.
But in the event that we are in a situation where we are in an extended dungeon crawl or
Mhm.
on the run from or in pursuit of someone, and we want to keep all of our spells up
Excellent.
till we hit the long rest,
Right.
or if we think we're going to get bombed during this long rest, then, which, by the way, Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion, Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion is something I encouraged you to take, because while it is the same level as Teleport, 7th level, if we're not teleporting somewhere, we can hop into an extraplanar dimension for the night, and that lasts 24 hours with a door that you can shut.
Yes.
So unless the aggrieved party that is attempting to get at you has a high level dispel magic at their disposal, you're fine.
Okay.
Now, if you're being chased by someone who is a high enough level spellcaster to cast a 7th or higher level dispel magic, or they make their save, or their intelligence, their spellcasting check on a lower level dispel magic of 17, then they will potentially, if they can find you, pop you out of the mansion
Right.
before you can finish your long rest.
Okay.
But if you aren't in proximity pursuit, if you aren't being actively pursued by a high level spellcaster, then you can hide in the mansion and get a full long rest, get a good meal, get other rest benefits that I may have mentioned before, like a hot bath, a soft bed, etc.
Right.
And get that.
Right.
So,
Okay.
And that's better than layman's because
Leomund's is tiny.
Yes.
It's a 10-foot by 10-foot,
oh,
or it's a 10-foot radius, so it's like a 20-foot diameter igloo, yurt kind of a thing, that is, again, largely impenetrable, but not invulnerable.
Right.
Whereas Mordenkainen's, while not ritual, so if we are tapped, we can use Leomund's as an emergency shelter. It's more like one of those, like, pop-up shelters you get in the emergency kit on an airplane crash kit or something.
yeah,
And the other one is like a luxury hotel.
Right.
So,
fortress of solitude.
sure, you can make it look like the interior of the Fortress of Solitude if you'd like to. But that one is one that we can theoretically use while we are riding as well, if you would like. You can take a look at that after we do the commune, or before. You can either do the commune inside or outside. Morden Canaan's, for really quick reference, looks like thus. Morden Canaan's Magnificent Mansion. Casting time 1 minute, range 300 feet. You need a miniature portal carved from ivory, a small piece of polished marble, and a tiny silver spoon, each item worth at least 5 gold pieces. We already dealt with that, so you have those components.
Are they reusable?
Yes.
Okay.
Duration, 24 hours. You conjure an extra-dimensional dwelling in range that lasts for the duration. You choose where its one entrance is located. The entrance shimmers faintly and is 5 feet wide and 10 feet tall. You and any creature you designate when you cast the spell can enter the extra-dimensional dwelling as long as the portal remains open. You can open or close the portal if you are within 30 feet of it. While closed, the portal is invisible. Beyond the portal is a magnificent foyer with numerous chambers beyond. The atmosphere is clean, fresh, and warm. You can create any floor plan you'd like, but the space cannot exceed 50 cubes, each cube being 10 feet on each side. The place is furnished and decorated as you choose. It contains sufficient food to serve a 9-course banquet for up to 100 people. A staff of 100 near-transparent servants attend all who enter. You decide the visual appearance of these servants and their attire. They are completely obedient to your orders. Each servant can perform any task a normal human servant could perform, but they cannot attack or take any action which would directly harm another creature. Thus, the servants can fetch things, clean, mend, fold clothes, light fires, serve food or wine, and so on. The servants can go anywhere in the mansion, but cannot leave it. Furnishings and other objects created by the spell dissipate into smoke if removed from the mansion. When the spell ends, any creatures or objects left inside the extra-dimensional space are expelled into the open spaces nearest to the entrance.
So if somebody of the 7th level throws the 7th level dispel magic at it, we would all end up right at the
Entrance. You'd all just
entrance,
have
which is where
get
they would
popped
be
out.
waiting for us.
Correct. However, the entrance is invisible, so unless they have detect magic, they won't know where it is. But, and again, this would predicate the notion of a high-level spellcaster chasing you, who happened to have dispel magic available. So, with that as your template, Morden Canaan's Magnificent Mansion is yours to cast as long as you have 7 level spell slots. I would recommend you do it once per day, because it's a 24-hour spell, not concentration. Meaning you cast it right before we do a long rest, and then we can hole up there until we're ready to move again. And then you can cast either ritually or non, commune, either inside or outside the mansion.
I would say, why don't you cast mansion, and then I will find. Can I hear them? If I'm doing the commune, am I the one that can speak with Mark how we're doing? And if they're outside the circle, will they hear me ask the question and then hear me say? So the answer is yes, and then they could ask me a follow-up question, or is it not going to work that way?
Typically, it's more of a private
Okay.
communion with your deity.
Okay.
You just kind of, you can ask it out loud, but the answer is not always, it's not going to be obvious to anyone looking on.
Right.
You could theoretically say the answer out loud,
Yeah.
but again, you have 1 minute, so you have
Right.
20 seconds
Per
per
question.
Q&A.
Okay. Well.
So if you're going to play the game of ask the question, get the answer, to relay the answer, get the next question, you're going to have to be fast.
So I would ask, do Finn or Elizabeth or Victor have a question that they would like me to ask on their behalf?
Not yet.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm a little new to this commune business myself,
Yeah.
and I don't want to accidentally tip my hand as the DM by having my DM
Makes
PCs
sense.
ask you
Yeah,
questions
yeah,
that
yeah.
could be potentially leading you in a direction that I either do or accidentally do not
Right.
want you to go just yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
What kind
later
of,
on, they may have some questions and this is not a surefire method of knowing that I'm trying to steer you in any direction,
Right.
but it's a bit of the tortoise-turtle thing. I may use this to questions for commune to gently guide you in a direction, or I may just ask a question that they would ask in character.
Exactly, yeah.
What kind of spell is the interdimensional house?
Conjuration,
Okay, so it's not a concentration spell.
non-concentration. I told you it's a 24-hour non-concentration, and being conjuration does not preclude the possibility of a concentration spell. It's simply the fact that it is not a
Well,
concentration
this
spell.
is going to sound strange, but this is just a question.
Mhm.
It's 24 hours. I'm in there for a rest. That would mean that I get 4 hours for a long rest.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
actually recharge to a 7th level while I'm in there.
Yes.
I mean, I get to recharge my 7th.
Theoretically, you could continue in there indefinitely. However, we are trying to ride
Right.
5 days to
No.
a meet around
I
the
was
water.
thinking in terms of just if something were happening outside where there was somebody coming at me, and they come out with a 7th level, I could then do a reaction spell at the same level and block
You would counterspell.
I
Yes.
could do a
if
counterspell,
you could, if
but you
if
don't
you knew
know.
that they were there,
uh,
and you knew that they were attempting it, you could pop out with a 7th level.
we put
Counterspell.
words around this.
You can put the alarm spell if you have it. I think you have it. He has it, right? Alarm spell.
As far
we
as
talked
I
about
know.
this little wire.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could put the alarm spell. Alternatively, I don't remember who gets this one, but there's a thing called guards and wards.
Ooh, I can see that.
I'm gonna double check to see who gets that. Har, you har.
Where did he say?
Glyph. Oh, he said Finn. Guards and wards. So that's a 6th level wizard spell.
What is?
Guards and wards.
Okay. I'm
Yeah, I
trying
don't
to,
know if this one would be useful for this particular occasion
Yeah.
out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
But the alarm spell is, to everyone watching, I am sorry that this probably seems very boring, but if you've seen Critical Role, you'll know they do the same thing.
Mhm.
So, cast a stone. It is a ritual spell. It's a 1st level abjuration. Non-concentration, 8-hour duration. So for the length of time that it would take you to get spells back, it's up. And then you can recast it ritually for 11 minutes cost every 8 hours for however long we sit in the mansion. And you can choose a door, window, or area within range that is no larger than a 20-foot cube. It doesn't specify whether the alarm spell works on an alternate plane of reality. Since it doesn't, I'm going to say that that is up to the DM, because they don't specify it in the rules as written that I can read it. So, until the spell ends, an alarm alerts whenever a tiny or larger creature touches or enters the warded area. When you cast the spell, you can designate creature that won't set off the alarm. You can choose whether the alarm is mental or audible. A mental alarm alerts you with a ping in your mind if you are within 1 mile of the warded area. This ping awakens you if you are sleeping. An audible alarm produces the sound of a handbell for 10 seconds within 60 feet. So, again, it does not specify whether it is on the same plane or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I will say that the mental one would be able to get to you because it is mental,
Right.
as opposed to audible,
Right.
unless you left the door open. and we're within 60 feet. I will say that if you stay within a mile of the entrance to the mansion,
And I have to do that.
with the dimensions of the mansion, I think you have to, yes.
You said it was 51,
50,
10 by 10?
10 by 10 cube, 10 by 10.
Yeah. So if
Cubes.
we gave
That's
everybody,
that's my geometry for you.
if I gave everybody a 4x4, which would be 40 by 40 room,
That would be bedrooms.
yeah,
That's 4 of the. That's 20 of the cubes.
yeah.
So at
and
least
then-
30 10 by 10 hand flappy things
Yes.
to devote to dining hall, recreational area, spa area, anything else you want within that.
Well, in a what did I say? 40 by 40?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, in a 4 10 by 10 cube room. So
Well, I wasn't going to do 10. I was going to do like, if we just increase the size of those, we could actually put a spa in every one.
you could. So-
I'm game.
With four 10 by 10 by 10,
Yeah.
that for a room, that's 40 by 40 by 40, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a 40 square foot floor plan, theoretically.
Actually, if I do 4 cubes for
Uh-huh.
each room,
Yeah.
that is then a 20 by 20.
Okay, so that's 20 by 20. So what is this room right here?
15 maybe. 12.
Okay, so just a little bit bigger than this room for a bedroom. Could probably accommodate a pretty sumptuous bed,
Yeah.
a pretty sumptuous wardrobe,
Right.
and a pretty darn good hot bath,
Yeah.
spa, hot
Yeah.
tub, hot spring thing in a corner.
We're going to make this, with bubbles.
Yes. And then 20 servant. Well, we'll just say 10 servants, and then 50 to do general housework. If you were to put 10 servants on each of us, which is inordinately excessive. If you even put 5,
Yeah.
that's 25 servants, and that
Right.
leaves 75 to do general housework menia.
Right.
Then you have 5 servants to clean your clothes, polish your armor,
And everything.
mend your clothes,
And
wash your hair, give you a massage,
Right.
whatever your little heart desires, as long as it doesn't attack or do damage.
Right.
Then it's fair game, pretty much.
And when they make food, do we have to have brought the food in?
Nope. And it works.
It works.
You can
but
cook
when
a meal.
we leave, does it?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by it works. You can cook. They can cook you a meal in the mansion. You can eat the meal in the mansion. You can leave the mansion and have a full belly.
Okay, that was worrying me.
Mhm.
I don't like empty bellies.
No. And that's another
Obvious.
point in the favor of the mansion being cast at long rests now, because then we don't have to buy rations.
Yeah.
And the other, at what level is the? Wait a minute.
Leomund's is a 4th level ritual.
No, I'm at the feast, the hero's feast.
Hero's Feast is like a comparable, if I'm not mistaken. Hero Feast. 6th.
Yep.
So I could actually cast on the last day Hero's Feast inside of the mansion.
Well, you couldn't, but she could. But yes, it could be cast inside the mansion.
Why are they both the same kind
No,
of?
it's a cleric spell.
Oh,
You don't have
okay.
access to Hero's Feast.
Okay.
So you
But
could
I
cast
could
the
definitely
mansion.
do it, yeah.
We could go into the mansion the
Right.
night before the fight.
Right.
Then you could cast Hero's Feast
Right.
and eat that instead of the dinner meal.
Right.
Because it's basic food quantity within the mansion is 900 courses of fine dining worth of food, because it's enough for
Oh, right,
100
right.
people for a 9-course banquet is how much food you have access to in the mansion. So for 5 people,
Very good.
you're fine to have a hero's feast. Even in the days preceding that, you are fine to have 3 or 2 or whatever nice meals, like a good dinner
Right.
and a good breakfast
Yeah.
before you leave the mansion, and then go on.
When they are saying that you can have up to 100, who would you invite in?
If we had gotten a whole bunch
Theoretically,
of
if you,
soldiers
if you
to
had,
accompany
if you
us.
brought the army
Oh.
of this baron who
Yeah.
was begging your aid,
Yeah.
if I had 2 hours more,
Right.
and I'd scratched up an army of cavalry and pikemen to come
Yeah.
help you,
Yeah.
because I was planning that when I was originally creating this encounter. Need is a very strong word. I was just kind of hoping to have the strategic flow of a massive battle. It's only 20 orcs, 3 ogres, an adult dragon,
And
a war chief, and a funny money.
Good.
So it's not like we can't handle them. It would just be if I'd been able to what?
All I can see is Kari the babysitter. Who can handle it? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not.
Like if I'd put the commoner, if I put an army together, I would have upped the number of orcs and probably
Oh, I
doubled
see.
the number of ogres,
Okay.
and maybe added some wolf riders.
Okay.
Just because I was planning, I was in my head when I built this campaign, this encounter, I was thinking like pike blocks to hold the center, cavalry to harry the flanks, and maybe some swordsmen to run out with the heroes and like duel the
Yeah.
ogres and like then having so we'll have like some wolf riders to counter the cavalry. We'll have some like hobgoblins in the vanguard, and we'll have stuff. And like I was building this massive encounter in my head, and then I got down here and I'm like, I don't have time for this. So,
Revise.
right.
Yes.
20 orcs,
Recalculating.
3 ogres, this other thing, and we're done. So with the mansion created, you enter the mansion the first time. I'll say that that you have placed some stabling aside inside the mansion for the horses.
Oh, we've got our horses.
Oh yeah.
At the very least, we've got your riding horses, Finnan's Direwolf, Kellenvor, and Shapebreath.
Yeah.
Because A, it's a 5-day ride by horseback,
Oh,
and B, ain't no way we're going into an open field conflict without war horses. Because we spent money on those things.
we don't have war horses, but yeah.
You guys aren't expected to engage in a charging bull rush fight. These guys, the fighters, are going in full bore. They are the cavalry.
Right.
Here come the something.
So we use some artillery, and then they charge in.
Exactly. Soften them up with the basic battle doctrine that I think you guys would agree is the best way to go is launch a fireball or 3, and then close with the targeting the ogres first,
Yeah.
and whatever orcs you can catch in the fireball radius, and then send in at the very least Victor and Elizabeth to cut down as many of the orcs as you can before they swarm you guys.
Yeah.
While you guys fend off whatever gets past them,
Right.
and hope that the orcs concentrate on them. And the ogres are the devil's guess, really, because either they're going to try and stomp the 2 horsemen charging at them, or they're going to run at you guys and try and squish you for fireballing them. At which point the fighters are going to have to figure out whether they disengage from the orcs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a
It's gonna be
chaos
very-
mess once things
Yeah.
start going off. But if you can you can either target the orcs and try and take out as many as possible with fireball, or try and weaken the ogres, then pound them with 1 or 2 fireballs, depending on how the initiative rolls, and then send in Victor and Elizabeth as the frontal assault to try and pin the center,
Yeah.
while Finnan kind of rides around and tries to shoot at anyone they're actually engaged with to get sneak attack.
Yes.
And then if anyone catches him, then he uses the scimitar to defend himself at close range without sneak attack, and just bats them twice for d6 damage.
One last
And the
question.
direwolf attack.
With the boots of springing and striding.
Yes, 30-foot speed, jump speed double, or jump distance doubled, vertical jump doubled in the neighborhood.
So can I'm thinking of what I can do. If I have a spell that requires me to touch a creature,
Mhm.
can I do my 30 feet dash in there, do what I'm gonna do with my touch or whatever, and then dash back out of harm's way?
No.
No,
You'd
okay.
have to run 15 feet in and 15 feet out. And if there's a hostile creature whose combat radius you pass through or out of, they can make an attack of opportunity.
Okay.
Because if you were to run 30 feet and back 30 feet, you would do nothing because you'd be using your action to dash.
Gotcha. That's what I wanted to know. Well, have
So,
you cast
The mansion is up, the
Okay.
food is being eaten,
Delicious,
it's delicious food. I have the description of the food here somewhere.
Ooh,
We
make
have
me hungry.
options.
Oh, I like options.
The options are honestly any of these, or all of these. Buttermilk bread, cheesecake, cherry croissant, cream cake, fruit tart, glazed roll, meat pies, pear pastry, stuffed pasta, sweet bread, aged goat cheese, brie, cream-based cheese, mozzarella, spiced cheese, sugar cheese, fresh olives, grapes, pears with wine, pomegranate, spiced plum, strawberry tart, sugar fig, sweet orange, almond milk, deviled egg. Gravy, mutton porridge, orange wine, beef, roast beef, sirloin, roast peacock, savory bacon, smoked veal, turkey leg, barley gravy soup, cream soup, egg soup, saffron soup, sage soup, wine soup, bitter chocolate, brie tart, cherry cobbler, cheesecake, chocolate, dessert, wine, rum cake, spice cake, sweet wine, and whipped cream. Any of those things can be served, because really, at this point, it's whatever you guys want for dinner, the servants will make out of the supplies that they have.
And it can be a different
And it can
thing
be
for-
anything on that list or off that list. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's mostly up to you to decide what's on the menu, but if anyone wants anything else, they can just talk to a servant and be like,
Can they make profiterole?
yes.
The donut shaped things.
Yes. Mhm. They
I've
make that.
wanted
is
one
the
of
cen-
those
that is
since
the,
I.
that
And
is
then
the
a golf
center.
for breakfast.
Yes. That the puffa
Profiterole.
profiterole, excuse me, is the centerpiece for dinner that night. And so then you can cast Commune before you settle down for the long rest.
Right.
So you settle in, you
Right.
light the incense, you have the holy water, you close your eyes, you reach out, you feel the connection to the path that you are wandering through, the roadways that you've been on, and you feel the presence of Mark Nardin communing with you. You have 3 questions.
The first question would be, are they still, are the band of orcs, the adult black dragon, and the ogres still near the edge of the High Moor?
Yeah, you feel a kind of a light breeze blowing like you would on a pathway that you can feel like you're heading in the right direction. And you gather that is a yes answer.
Then my follow-up question to that is there at least one spellcaster among them?
The light wind, the warm glow, the feeling of being on a path that you know is leading you in the right direction persists. You feel that is a yes answer.
And follow-up to that is, would any of those spellcasters be more skilled than we are?
The sensation changes. You can get a sensation of a turning road, a darkened path, a road that you have taken a wrong turn, and you can sense that is a no answer.
Therefore, those are my 3 questions.
And there are your 3 questions.
Many thanks.
And you have a sumptuous room in the mansion with a hot bath, a warm bed, etc.
Clothes being cleaned by the servants.
You join your companions. Is there anything that you wish to do before you take your long rest? Besides, you already done the commune spell, but is there anything else you'd like to do?
I am going to have a massage and a bath.
Alright. In that case, I'm going to say that this is the final day, like
Yes.
before the fight that you have. 1 second here. Let me double check how long that lasts.
And then we have hero
It's the
speaks.
last
One
day,
moment, please.
then
I'm
we
just
need
trying
to
to
have
check
done
something
the
really
hero
fast.
speaks.
Yeah.
There's something going on here. One bad. It's per day. Okay. Okay. That doesn't help. Delicious. Okay, so this isn't useful for now, but remember this for the final fight. Or not the final fight, but for the night before the fight. You will have gotten I will classify this as having this happen as part of the no, never mind. Okay. So, let's see how long this lasts. Okay. I'll say that this counts over the next couple of days what will happen for you for a total of 7 days. Alright, well, we'll see. Hang on. A total of 5 days. So including the day of the fight, you will have exhaustion level reduced by 1, not relevant here. Hit points equal to the highest possible level of 1 hit die plus your constitution modifier. Again, not useful now, but something to remember. For the next 24 hours, your speed, for the next amount of time, your speed increases by 5 feet and your carrying capacity increases by 20. So for the next 5 days, you will have a walking speed of 35 feet.
Okay.
That's because of the hero?
No, because of the bath massage combination.
Oh, okay.
Once the 5 days are up, you will not be able to benefit from this feature particularly as a feature. You can still get blah, but you cannot benefit from it again for 11 days. After the 5 days are up, you cannot benefit from it for 11 days.
So everybody should have that the last night we're in the hunt, before we go into battle.
Yes. And again, we're going to class this as something you gain the benefits from the night before the fight, but you will have advantage on dexterity checks, including initiative checks, starting the night before the fight for 24 hours. So the same night you get the Hero's Feast, I'll say you get a quote-unquote extra soft bed,
Dexterity checks and what?
including initiative checks.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
I figured I wouldn't
Yes.
take that from you now, because it's
Right.
once per 7 days you can get this benefit. So I'll say that in this case, it turns into a cumulative effect of the 5 days in the mansion with the spa and the nice soft bed. And exactly. Meal things will be dished out, pardon the pun. Actually not intended, I'm sorry about that. At such point as they are needed, because they give you things like temporary hit points, immunity against exhaustion, hit points equal to 1 hit die, advantage on strength checks, regaining of all hit points, hit point maximum increasing by an amount equal to half your level. Things like that can happen with varying levels of food. Like a delicious hot meal, a big hearty meal, or a feast fit for a king can give you higher and respectively higher levels of stuff. So I'm going to say that I'm going to make the out of character ruling that that those bennies kick in when you need them, not every single time.
Now, do we have to remember that during the battle?
I will try to remember if we hop into the mansion after we get our butts kicked and are absolutely mollywopped and low on hit points and so forth. Things like regaining hit points aren't going to be useful necessarily unless it's if we're doing a long rest because we already regained hit points. But anything pertaining to regaining hit points isn't going to be useful. But temporary hit points or advantage on strength checks or things like that could be useful if we've gotten our butts kicked and have to go back out there and play round 2.
Right.
We're not gonna get our butts kicked.
I'll remember that.
Always good to have. It's always good to have backup.
So it's just things that can happen. I will say can happen more efficaciously in the mansion, but you can also find these benefits in a higher end tavern or place of something like that. So that just costs money.
Right. Cool.
So those benefits kick in the night before.
So what do we get for I can't remember what we get in the Heroes Feast. We add something in.
I should have given you guys a green dragon to fight. I'm sorry.
Oh, what?
I'll explain in a minute.
Okay.
It is a gem encrusted bowl worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. Is the material component of the spell.
Yep.
Casting time 10 minutes. Duration instantaneous. You bring forth a great feast, including magnificent food and drink. The feast takes 1 hour to consume and disappears at the end of that time, and the beneficial effects don't set in until this hour is over. Up to 12 creatures can partake of the feast. A creature that partakes of the feast gains several benefits. The creature is cured of all diseases and poison, becomes immune to poison and being frightened, and makes all wisdom saving throws with advantage. Its hit point maximum is also increased by 2d10, and it gains the same number of hit points. These benefits last for 24 hours.
So
We've used it once before.
Yes, we have.
When we battled Ebendeath.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately, we didn't use it until after Victor got possessed and mollywopped.
Right. We have it. We are taking advantage of it.
Or no, we did.
Yeah, we did.
But his advantage roll wasn't enough.
But we also have to.
Because he made a wisdom save against Ebendeath's possession.
Yes.
And either I forgot to do the save with advantage, or he really rolled cruddy. But you wouldn't know. I did it behind the screen.
Oh. Do we want to increase our hit points then at this
So,
point in time?
if you have any more questions for Commune before we get there,
yes, okay.
you have up to 12 more that you can
Very good.
ask.
Okay.
If you don't, that's fine. We'll just fast forward to
Right.
the final night when we do the Heroes Feast and get the bennies from being
Ron Deere, what questions do you have for what time we're doing? When we know that there is at least one spellcaster, do you want to find out?
You can just ask the questions, Pedro.
Okay, I didn't want.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
You can ask any questions you have. Ask.
Okay,
If no one else has any questions,
Okay, cool.
you don't need to hint them into getting you to ask the questions. You
all
can
right.
simply ask the questions
Okay, very
yourself.
cool. All right, then I would say, you've told me that there is at least one spellcaster. Is there more than one spellcaster in the group that we are about to fight?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna pass forward it, but you
That is
you
fine.
get the narrative idea.
Right.
If we're doing a 12 thing, I'm not gonna be like
Right.
So
Let's see. Does the adult black dragon have a weakness, an Achilles heel type of thing? What I would do and just put me on hold.
Yep.
Well, if it be put on hold by a deity is probably
Unclear.
Unclear. Okay. is the, how is it described, non-orc behavior or?
The oddball orc, for lack
Is
of
the-
a
yeah, good, good. Is the oddball orc, stronger than his fellow orcs?
No.
We've got another.
Is the oddball
question.
orc the spellcaster?
Yes.
So we gotta go after that.
Did we ask if he was a war leader or that?
Well, the way you heard it described was there was the adult dragon flying overhead. There were about 20 orcs running around that looked pretty normal. There were 3 ogres that were apparently mercenaries working for the warband. There was a war chief, and then there was this other one that did not behave like a normal orc.
Okay, because he's a smart.
Right.
Okay, and I think. Is there a limit to how many times the adult black dragon can attack us with acid?
Unclear.
Are there any members of the party that were not reported to us?
No.
Are there hostile creatures lurking nearby that are not part of the war party?
Unclear.
Does the war party have reinforcements? Is the same question I would
No.
Does the war party,
Yeah.
does the war party have reinforcements at its disposal?
No.
Do you know the location of the adult black dragon's lair?
No.
Is there an advantaged time of day to attack this war party?
No.
I've got one more left. Unless I miscounted, but that's okay. Is there a protection from acid available to us?
Yes.
Is
That's your
that's my last
spell.
question.
That's our last question. And as the final commune spell question flows through you, it is getting dusk. It's just after dark. It's like just after sunset. You have scouted. I mean, Victor and Elizabeth are out, and Finnan are out scouting the warband's camp as Rongir prepares the mansion, and they come loping back about the time you finish maybe 15 minutes after you finish commune spell. Lead the animals in, hand them off to the servants, and then Victor has made use of one of his Battlemaster features. Yes. He is using this Know Your Enemy.
Ooh.
And he has learned some things about the War Chief and the Odd Orc. The War Chief has an inferior strength score to is not as strong as Victor. Let me double check that. That's just make sure that's cool. Yes. War Chief. Let me check. Let me double check that. Let me double check that. Victor, what's your strength score, buddy? Go ahead. Strength. Nope, the Orc War Chief is equal to Victor in strength. Its dexterity score is inferior. I mean, he's not as dexterous as Victor. It is not. I mean, it is inferior in constitution. It is equal in intelligence. I have given way too many stats there. Shoot my fire. Oh well.
You given what?
Way too many things. I'm supposed to give 2. Oops.
Oh.
So the other thing, you can have 2 of the following question: equal or inferior, equal, superior, or inferior. 2 of the following things. I'll let you guys choose this time because I totally oversold on work. 2 of the following: strength score, dexterity score, constitution score, armor class, current hit points, total class levels, if any, fighter class levels, if any.
Okay. Can you
So I'm going to go back to the Orc War Chief really fast and just ask you to forget everything you've just learned about him.
Okay.
He is inferior in Victor in armor class. Yeah, he has an inferior armor class to Victor's, and he has inferior hit points.
To Victor and Elizabeth, or
To
just
Victor.
Victor?
Victor's the only one who can do this because he has Know Your Enemy as part of his Battlemaster stuff.
Okay.
The other thing, we have strength. The options are that you can ask him to go check out retroactively. Strength score, dexterity score, constitution score, armor class, current hit points, total class levels if any, and fighter class levels if any. What 2 of those do you want him to check?
Current hit points. What was the other 2? The last 2. Or...
Total class levels or fighter levels if any. And there's only 2 of those that can be taken.
Right. I just want to. Class levels. I think it would be helpful to know. Well, class levels would be a spellcasting levels. Would that be correct? Is that
If he had levels in wizard, sorcerer, bard, monk, paladin, fighter, barbarian, cleric, warlock, wizard, etc.,
okay?
then that would give you that.
Yes.
Victor is currently a 14th level fighter.
But we're talking about the odd orc who is the spell caster. So if we get the total class levels, then we know what if he is a 17th level spellcaster, if we got something to contend with.
We already know he's not a 14.
Your
Because of
commune
your
spell
questions.
gave a weaker response. He is weaker than you guys.
Good point. Okay. But is that in all? Yeah. Okay. So that's that
Oh,
one.
the spellcasting ability you're specifying.
So what is armor class?
Armor class tells you how hard it is to hit.
Yeah. You said that would be helpful to know.
Hit points tell you how long it takes for him to
Yeah,
die.
those 2 are like
Class levels, I will say, will give you what level of spellcaster he is, if he is a spellcaster. Which he is. Which you already know. So it was really stupid of me to say it that way.
That's okay.
That's okay.
You were just covering the bases.
I was trying to create doubt in your minds.
No,
And then I realized that was stupid because you already know.
because Mott have a doing told me.
Right.
Okay, so what do you want to find out? Because you're going to be going up head to head with him.
And again, it's not going to tell you numbers. It's going to tell you whether he is
Inferior
inferior,
or
equal, or superior to Victor.
Right.
So he's going to be superior spellcaster to Victor.
Good point.
Because Victor is a 0 level spellcaster.
Right,
And
but
this
an
guy
armor
is
class-
a existence level spellcaster. Armor class, strength, dexterity, constitution. Those things will tell you, specifically dexterity and constitution, if they're equal, inferior, or superior to Victor, will tell you how hard it will be to hit him with, say, a fireball or a sacred flame for dexterity, or for some of your other things, like anything that requires a constitution saving throw or a dexterity saving throw. You'll be able to tell if he's better at it than Victor, worse at it than Victor, or the same as Victor. Hit points will tell you how long it is before he goes down. Whether he's not as many as Victor,
Right.
the same about as Victor, more than Victor.
I think Dex and Con would be very helpful to know.
Okay.
What do you think, Mike?
That's cool.
So, the oddball is Dex. He is inferior to Victor.
Can I ask Victor what his Dex is?
+3. He's well above average. And then his constitution is also inferior, which is not surprising because Victor is +5.
I was when we were asking about comparing those things to Victor, I'm going, Victor's like hugely big in those
Which
areas.
means if somebody is superior to him,
We're in trouble.
exactly. And then the dragon, we
Oh.
can learn 2 of the same things about it.
Well,
Same
since
list.
we only have one spellcaster, we know the dragon is not a spellcaster.
Correct.
So we're looking there for strength, Dex, Con.
It's all compared to
Strength, Dex, Con, armor class, hit points, class levels, and fighter class levels, which are irrelevant for this particular theme.
So, right.
Really, strength, Dex, Con, armor class, and hit points are the ones you're looking at.
Right. Do I know how hard he is to hit? How many hit points he's got? I mean, he's probably going to be. I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark. He's an adult dragon. He's probably going to be superior hit points to Victor.
Yeah, I'm
I don't
thinking
think that one's too hard to figure out. But AC might be helpful
I guess
to
the
know.
question is, at what point in time does a human fighter like Victor, at what level does he conceivably become harder to kill than a dragon?
I don't think capable. If we can find out what his armor class is,
Yeah.
at least and that's one thing we know that we can,
We can only know this, right?
you know, a superior, inferior, right?
Inferior, equal, or superior.
And then strength, Dex,
Con,
Constitution.
hit points.
Sorry.
Good call. That's the 2 things we'll need.
I would like to know what his armor class is. I figure
Okay.
he's got more hit points than Victor.
So, Victor found Samuel. That's got disadvantage property. Property warning, I don't know what got ejected. Anyway, why is this on an armor class level, it is Victor's equal.
Wow.
And so Victor is
19 armor class.
okay then. Well, Hero's Feast has helped us out there.
How so? It doesn't buff our armor class.
It doesn't give us advantage on rolls?
It gives us. No, you have advantage on dexterity
Oh, okay.
rolls because of either the hot meal or the warm bed. I can't remember which one, but one of the two.
Okay.
And then what's the other thing? You can learn hit points, strength, dex, or con are the relevant ones.
What was the last one?
Constitution.
Constitution.
It is equal to Victor.
It was a +5, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, that is amazing information.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly, and I may not, the hero's meal or feast gives us resistance to poison,
Immunity to poison.
immunity to poison.
So
So all of my discussions about what are we going to do in order to be able to protect ourselves from poison,
you were never asking about poison,
but the dragon's poison, right?
though.
No, it's
Oh,
acid.
It's acid.
Acid. Okay.
Black dragons are acid.
I'm sorry.
Green dragons are poison.
Ah. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so well, that's fabulous information, and so I'll go back.
Okay.
Thank you for
So
the
you
information.
conjure the hero's feast. What does it look like?
Everyone is enjoying.
Pierogies.
What is if you're conjuring the feast? What does it look like?
We are all reclining,
Mhm.
and the table is low to the ground,
Mhm.
and our each person has been may be aware of favorite or desired foods, for example, like pierogi or Finn's choices.
Prole, help me out here. Prole. The thing.
Poutine. No.
Well, poutine, yes, but the pyramid of donut thingies.
Oh, the
Profiterole.
profiterole. Chocolate or vanilla?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes, we got.
Profiterole. Well, 3 tiers.
Oh,
Chocolate, vanilla, both.
wonderful. That's the one thing I've seen before.
Profiterole, golly, out here.
Is this a dessert or a meal?
Everything. I don't care what you guys putting out there.
Salmon.
Leg of
Salmon
lamb.
and leg of lamb
Yes.
and
I'm thinking
poutine
caviar,
and
poutine. Definitely scads of caviar.
caviar and
What's the crusted with pastry beef?
beef Wellington and Wellington tacos.
Yes. Yes.
Which are basically you cook the components of the beef Wellington, and then you cook the puff pastry shells like a taco shell, so it doesn't get soggy on the bottom, and then you just construct a beef Wellington in a taco shape.
Oh.
Cam showed it to me on the internet the other day.
Oh.
I think it was a Facebook or Instagram reel.
I want in real life.
I
Oh, my
know,
word,
me
yeah.
too. Like you take the beef Wellington, and instead of doing the roll and baking it and letting it get soggy on the bottom,
Right.
you make the taco shells out of the puff pastry, and then you cook the other ingredients component of the beef Wellington. You basically deconstruct the beef Wellington,
Right.
cook it in its deconstructed shape,
Yeah, it makes
slice
sense.
up the beef, put the other stuff that makes the beef Wellington on the taco shell of puff pastry, put the meat on top of that, and you have a crisp beef Wellington
Yes, that,
taco. Those are on there, and God, for meat pies.
Chileanos.
Sure, those things too.
I would like gopher.
Gopher
And
and
yes.
Crepe and
And I would like, we had 2 things once. We had a lobster bisque that was to die for.
lobster basque.
Basque, and we
And,
have it. And also,
Yeah.
there's this wonderful dessert called sabayon.
And sabayon and tiramisu and
We're gonna be
And as we waddle out
pommes
into the
frites
mouth.
and
yes, pommes frites, really good
and
pommes
those
And-
flour onions you get at Outback
Yes.
Steakhouse,
Yes.
and there was something I was gonna, Khachapuri.
Oh yes. Gotta have
Salmon
khachapuri.
Khachapuri is a Ukrainian dish that
Oh.
they take a bread boat.
Is that the egg?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that over some of the others.
In addition to
In
this,
addition
here's
to-
the
I
feast,
know,
you get
but
it
I've
all.
gotta be able
Some
to
of
use
those-
You have 1 hour to eat
Oh.
anything on the table.
And the thing is, we don't have to have like the whole thing, right? We can just
No,
have a bite of this and
and
a bite
it's,
of
the
this.
thing
and a bite
is,
of
it's
this.
enchanted, so it's going to just disappear at the end of an hour.
Right.
And for 1,000 gold pieces, you can get it all back for an hour.
Oh.
And,
And it stays with us.
and it stays with you, and you
Yes.
are very, very well sated, and you feel like you can do anything.
Yeah.
And you can feel the food pulsing through you. It is feeling good. You are feeling ready and raring to go. And yeah. And then so you get a long rest from that, and for the next 24 hours, so you have 16 hours once this whole thing kicks off. The breakfast the next morning is a pale shadow of that, and you get advantage on strength checks, temporary hit points equal to half your level, so you get 7 temporary hit points plus the 2d10 hit points from the Hero's Feast.
So we got to roll for that.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
So
So I get
2d10 temporary hit
2d10.
points.
That was going to roll my d20.
Oh,
That would have
you
been
wish.
fun.
It actually would not be as good because you could get a 1 theoretically.
D10.
With a
D10s.
d20, you could theoretically get a 1. With
Right.
2 d10s, you can't get lower than 2,
Good point.
mathematically.
Right.
And I rule that you re-roll ones.
Okay. 7 and 4.
11. So you get a total of 18 temporary hit points.
Write that down. Write that down. Woo-hoo. So, Hero's Feast.
Do we also get?
Everyone gets
Oh,
18
so I
temporary
have
hit
to
points.
roll then too.
No.
Oh,
Everyone
get the
gets
same
a
amount.
total of 18 temporary hit points because
Okay.
you get 11 temporary hit points from the Hero's Feast and 7 temporary hit points from breakfast.
so what was that number again?
18. So, 18 temporary hit points to everyone, immunity to poison to everyone. Not really relevant in this case, but if we were fighting something that was doing poison, we would have that helping.
And definitely
Advantage,
do a hero's feast.
immunity to being frightened.
Oh,
Which
that's
is
right.
big
That was
against
really
dragon.
important. Yeah.
Advantage on wisdom saving throws.
Immune to frightened. So this was poison.
Immunity.
Advantage on strength throws. Wisdom throws too. You remember that?
Yes, advantage on wisdom saving throws. Frightened. Immune. Probably is. Boy. Custom. Oh yes, Hero's Feast. Okay. And with that, you are going to go attack the orcs, yes?
Let's go storm the Orkies. Oh, I've got this also. Cure of all diseases and poisons, fear, poisoning.
Yes.
So, but we don't have any diseases.
You don't have any diseases, so that's not entirely relevant right now. But should you become so at a later time before taking a Hero's Feast, should you be suffering from one of those conditions and eat a Hero's Feast, you are then cured of it.
So should my arthritis kick in when I turn about 500 years old?
Yes.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent.
Poisoned, I'll have to remember to get rid of that at the end of the next 24
to it.
get rid of the immunity to poisoned and frightened at the end of 24 hours because the hero's feast does fade
Yeah,
eventually. This is
for
it's not
24
shot.
hours.
So you prepare yourselves, and are you ready to go?
I have one quick question. The Hero's Feast has a limit of how long?
24 hours.
So we actually ate that for breakfast, and we ate the breakfast for dinner, so that it would be like right before we left the mansion.
Okay, they both have a limit of 24 hours, so.
But the end of the when we come out is when we started when we had the
yes,
feast.
you don't have you can dispel the mansion early. It's not necessary to have that be, and if you waited the full 24 hours, it'd be dusk.
Okay, I was just basically saying that we want to have the Hero's Feast as close to the time that we go into battle as...
Okay. So we can swap that to breakfast. It's a little odd over breakfast, but it works. And you had something very nice the night before, so that one, you're at 16 hours approximately for the stuff that you get, the 7 extra hit points and the advantage on strength checks that you get for nice food, not Hero's Feast level nice food. So with 24 hours-ish, give or take 20 minutes prepping for battle, you are at about 16, give or take, hours left on your nice food advantages. With the breakfast pennies underway, you exit the mansion, and you can see the orcs are at the far end of a kind of a shallow, like a not hugely narrow, but like a valley of perhaps a 40-foot incline up to the sides of the slopes. It's probably about a 30-degree incline or so. Some rocks, a couple of boulders along the sides, and you can see the orcs are kind of getting up themselves and getting their armor on and gathering themselves, and one of the scouts comes running back to camp with the news that you guys have appeared, and you can see them kind of marshaling at the far end of the valley with the ogres in front, and the orcs are kind of forming up behind them.
How far away are we?
I'd say the valley is probably no more than 60 to 80 feet long.
Close.
So can you cast?
Maybe as much as 100 tops, but you're well within the 120 to 150 feet of, or it's 120 feet for fireball. So if you would like to roll for initiative, we can open the ball. And I say we roll for initiative because we are not surprising. This is not a dawn ambush.
And they saw us when we appeared.
They saw you kind of
hard to
materialize. When 5 people on war horses and a wolf in armor pop out of nowhere, it's kind of hard to miss that.
Do I get advantage on initiative?
You do.
Oh, good.
Aha!
I should believe you.
Uh-huh.
You got it from something. You got it from the night, from the spa, or from the something. Something you did.
Yes, yes.
Oh, confound it.
I rolled a 7 and then I rolled a 20.
I can't remember what the first roll was.
Roll it again. I got a 19.
So I've got 22.
Okay, that's better. I'll roll you back to your original one because I like it better, so I'm going to put that down so I can remember what it is. I'm not cheating. I'm trying to remember what the advantage roll was.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So, initiative, we have you. I'm going to just roll the whole army and then the dragon.
Okay.
Okay. Roll it, orcs here, boys. Real quick. Okay.
As am I, so he'll go first.
What's your initiative bonus?
0.
Okay. Okay. Elizabeth is at 13. Ronger is at 22, I heard.
Nice time for
Yeah,
a nat
very
20.
good one. Yeah.
So it appears that you are at the top of the initiative here because we have you at 22, Victor's at 21, Edra and Finnan are at 19, and Elizabeth is at 13.
We probably want to save a 7 for sure.
At the very least, yes. Bearing in mind, if you choose to teleport, I don't know if we can take the enemies.
Well, I'm not going to tell you that. But there's other things. There's what's chain lightning?
7.
Yeah. I mean,
Or it's 6. Is it 6?
I thought it was a 6. I could be remembering.
I think it's a 6.
Because we saved that 7, it was the teleport.
And you chain lightning Fabio and
yeah,
friends.
Right.
I think. Let me look over here. I have to look on
Mhm.
this in order to find out. I have 2 5s. I'm going to do a 5th level fireball,
Okay. So,
which I think is the highest I've rolled that.
with the valley floor being about, we'll just say, no more than 30 feet wide.
And I go
Approximately.
20 feet each way.
Yeah, you can fill the valley from wall to wall. It's just a question of how many orcs are in because they're in a sort of a ranked up thing. It's not as precise as you would expect if you were facing an Olrog, but the war chief has kind of gotten them into a sort of a battle line with the trolls out in front. So they're probably
Trolls or ogres?
Ogres, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I thought maybe they were
No,
goblins.
no, it's okay. You what?
I thought maybe they were goblins.
Yes. I almost threw some goblins in there. Then there are, so there's 6 abreast. So there's about 3 ranks of orcs, with 2 kind of running with the ogres-ish. It's not like Napoleonic precision, but it is for the sake of dimensions. It's approximately 3 ranks of orcs. The ogres are probably about 10 or 20 feet in front of them. So, yeah, you could probably get everyone except for the war chief and the funny one in the first fireball. I think.
Well, I think that with the level 5, I've got a 40-foot
10,
diameter.
15. No. You can get either the massive orcs and no ogres, or the ogres and part of the orcs. You need to get all the orcs and no ogres, or the ogres and part of the orcs. So they're cool. So for mathematical reference, you got it. You got it in your head.
Kill the ogres.
Huh?
Well, actually, you'll kill all the orcs probably.
Depends.
If you, yeah, I mean, you have
No
more
sign of the
like-
dragon yet, by the way.
Right, you have more. Okay, you have more of a likelihood of killing the orcs. You're not going to be able to kill the ogres with the fireball.
Yeah, what I was thinking is that the more beings that I eliminate, the less attacks we have to
Fend off.
Yes.
fend
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
We're gonna run 1 round of combat and then.
Oh, okay.
Run it through here. I've got 10. This is a level 3 plus 1 plus 1. It's 8 plus 1 plus 1, which is 10. I think I've only done a 10 one other time. Do I have to pick it up off the floor?
And re-roll it.
Okay. It's sitting good. Ah, that's what was on. Ow, 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 ow. My rib hurts. Oh, shoot. Ah. I'm having trouble leaning forward to read these. 1, 2. That was a 1. 2. 5. 10. 15. 27.
Why do you torment me so?
What's that?
I said to the tower, why do you torment me so? The dice out the back spiral one instead of going around.
Woo! Nice save. Wow.
I had to beat a 19, don't I? Or else 27 points of damage. And based on your experience, 27 points of damage and Orky go bye-bye.
Yeah.
You've yet to meet an orc that could beat 27 points of damage before.
I have pages of orcs and not one of them.
Exactly, that's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
I keep track of this stuff.
Usually around 20 points of damage and Orky go bye-bye.
We have a couple that were 24 at one
Ooh.
point. Yep, at one point.
I was been during my vicious stage when I was just maxing out the hit points in the hope of surviving.
Probably.
It was a very brief phase. Plus, it was when I was like racing to write things, and we were running level higher than the encounter called for. So I was just like trying to make it a little more difficult for us because we were like, I want to say level 5 running a level 3 campaign
Yep.
encounter.
Yeah.
Okay. Two of them survive.
That would be discouraging.
One of them is... Do you remember how my arms looked when you were hosing me off?
Yes.
Like that, but more. And all over his body. He looks like he's melting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take my hand.
He looks like his hand, like his he looks like his whole body is just melting like candle wax.
But he's alive, sort of.
He's on his knees, just kind of
Ugh.
trying to scream through a throat that looks like a melted candle.
I'm sorry.
No?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
the
I
other
got a
one.
little descriptive.
And the other one.
Completely unharmed.
Yeah.
He somehow managed to dive out of the way of the entire blast.
Good for him.
1 in 20 chance.
Gonna die.
Very soon.
Get used to it.
The ogres are untouched because they were out of your blast radius. The war chief and the funny money are out of your blast radius, so they're fine. Victor is going to take one look at that and go, well, that definitely makes things easier. And he's going to boot Kellenbor into a charge at the orc So he's going to charge straight at the middle ogre.
Cool.
And Kelangor is going to make a trampling charge. And he is going to use his hoof attack. That's abysmal. That is abysmal. That is a miss, unfortunately, as he fails to hit the orc with a
You
trampling
did your
charge.
best, horse. You'll do better next time.
Victor is then going to attack 3 times. Hit at 20 something. Yeah, it's a 26 to hit. Will hit. Maybe later too, huh? His second hit is a natural 20 with another 20 on the follow-on roll. So he deals max damage. Dice doubled plus strength. So he deals 8 plus 8, 16, 21 points of damage with his second hit. His first hit is 6, so that's 27 points of damage. Third hit is a 19, which does hit for 12 points of damage for a total of 39 points of damage.
Wow. Awesome.
Nice job, Victor.
That hurt. He is carving chunks off this ogre.
Yes.
Then Finnen's up. He's going to be encouraged by the lack of draconic presence. He is going to charge the ogre that Victor is engaging from the flank.
Good.
And the dire wolf gives him fun things.
That will gets to attack, too.
It does. But it uses pack tactics, which gives it advantage on attacks if at least one non-incapped ally is within 5 feet of the target. So it's going to attack at advantage. (15 plus 3 is 18 hits for, so that's 2d6 is 12 points of damage to ogre.
Same guy?
Yep.
Cool.
And it has to make a strength save. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Finnen is going to wheel the dire wolf at the other ogre
Good.
first. No, he's gonna use his attack. He's gonna use his primary attack on the ogre. It is looking very, 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 very bad. So he's going to attack. That's 23 to hit, which hits. So that's 4, 9, 13 points of damage to the ogre and topples it.
Yes!
And then he's going to use the Scimitar's speed and his bonus action and the direwolf's remaining movement to slip about 10 or 15 feet that way, because it has 50-foot movement.
Oh.
You said down, does that mean dead?
Yeah, the first ogre's down.
Okay.
So he's going to. I'm going to say that they're close enough that he can pull this off, just barely. He's going to slip over to the other ogre and use his bonus action to attack. Or no. Yes. And he's going to, with a 22, he will hit. Now, it's time. Because it does not specify that it has to be on your action
Good
to attack. And you
point.
deal sneak attack.
Uh-huh.
So, you're going to. Make it rain on the uninjured ogre.
All right.
I said that really funny.
Which is the only one left.
Two total left.
Oh.
There were 3 to start with, as I said several times. 11, 17, 19, 22, 25, 29 plus. What did I say? That was 25?
29.
29 plus 9 is 38.
Whoa.
As he carves into the inside of its leg and hits something extremely vital on the inside of its thigh.
Yes.
It's 38 points of damage. That one. It's brutally hurt.
Bleeding badly?
Yes.
Good.
And now you hear a bone-chilling roar from across the tree line as a draconic shape wheels into view, and you see swinging down on the battlefield.
I'm gonna raise a point. That's good, but didn't she roll the same as Victor?
No.
It's Finnan.
But Finnan
Okay.
has.
But
No, I
Finnan
just was.
has a
I was,
plus 5 dexterity modifier.
Yeah.
She has a plus 0 dexterity modifier, and Alzalan, whose entrance just spoiled with that question, has
I'm
a
sorry.
plus 2. So
I'm sorry.
he's so you see the approach of Alzalan the Ebon rising over the treetops to wing down upon the battlefield. He is going to not.
He's gonna what?
He's not going to use his frightful presence because you guys are immune to fear.
Well, it might get an impressive dude.
He
Out of
doesn't
somebody.
he doesn't know that we're immune to fear.
Well,
Sure he does.
he may do. The roaring is the frightful presence,
right.
but you don't have to save against it because you're immune to fear.
Oh.
So then he is going to. Yeah. How are you guys approaching this field?
Well,
What is your order of battle? As in, are you lined up or are you spread out?
from my perspective, remembering that we have dealt with the dragon before, I was watching Victor and Finn and Elizabeth kind of go, and I was kind of looking for a little bit of whatever cover there might be in rocks not hanging out nearby. I can't tell you whether I'm 20 or 30 feet or,
So I'll say that for the first time, how far away from everyone are you? I'm going to say that we started the fight within
that's what I was
50 or 60 feet of the orcs was when we started making our moves of
And the ogres
initiative.
were in front of them.
Yeah. So because they were within 50 feet or so of the orcs and ogres because they have the wolf has 50 feet of
Right.
movement. The ogres
Right.
have the war horses have 60 feet of movement.
Yeah. Right.
So we're within
Okay.
certainly
60.
50 or 40 to 60 feet of that. So did you follow them up? Did you plan on moving closer, or were you staying
My
about 60 feet away?
preference was to stay about 60 feet away.
Okay.
50 to 60
Are
because
you
I can cast stuff.
in an approximate? Which one? Are either of you in an approximate line behind Victor or Finn?
I guess it would depend on which direction something's coming, because if we're
As you're so relative to the valley walls,
Right.
okay,
parallel to the valley walls,
Right.
Victor and Finn are here and here. Are you guys behind them, or are you away from them?
I would prefer to move slightly away so I'll be able to see.
Yeah. So when this whole thing started,
Right.
you were moving up
Kind
and
of.
away.
I will say winging slightly off to
Okay. On you?
going off to the left
Okay.
side-ish.
So in that case, roll me a d20. Trying to keep it fair here.
18.
5.
Okay. Victor attracts its attention first, as he's in the process of gutting an ogre. And it exhales a jet of acid at him and the ogre,
Ah.
as it just happens to be in the way.
Ah.
It is not so precise that it starts the line right on top of Victor.
How handy.
So both Victor and the ogre he is engaged with, who is, oh no, it's dead, never mind.
Wait a minute, it was? Because he turned it. Oh, Finnan was the
Finn
one who was
turned it
doing
into soup.
Yeah.
So it's just him that gets the
Rats.
And Victor has his immunity or resistance.
dexterity saving throw. Here we go.
Yes,
Poison. No, Victor does not have anything to add.
all of it. That's one of his tattoos. I'm just...
He's not wrong. Okay, this is good. This is good. I do not have enough dice for this.
What's that?
I
Well,
said I do not have
too
enough dice
bad.
for this.
You just can't roll them then. Oh my.
Okay. Uh-huh. So, 54 points of damage. Halved for a successful dex save to 27. Halved for Dragon Guard to 13. 13 points of acid damage.
Thank
It
you.
really ticked off Dragon.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
He still has 5 temporary hit points. He's not even touched his initial. Like, if he makes dex saves, even if he doesn't, it's like he made the dex save without it.
Oh wow.
Because he has resistance
Right.
to acid damage because it's a dragon breath weapon. Because
So
he has
any-
dragon
from
breath.
anything else that would
Any
be
other kind of dragon
right, but
that
any other
fires a
kind,
breath weapon at him, he has.
But if a spellcaster shot
Through
grass
acid
at him.
bow at him, then he's got to make the save or he takes it.
Gotcha. Okay, alright, so it's a dragon.
It's a draconic specific, and if you can ever get to grips with this creature, he's going to deal an extra 3d6 points of slashing damage anytime he hits it with the Dragon Slayer longsword.
I
Yeah.
need that.
So,
I'm so happy.
that's Alzalan's turn. Edra,
Okay.
you're up.
I'm gonna cast my spiritual weapon, level 4.
Who are you gonna bang?
The first.
Can you
Who are you gonna hit?
Thank you. I'm just saying, YouTube's gonna eat that alive.
Yeah.
The first attack is going to be directed at the ogres.
Okay.
17 plus 10 is 27.
27.
Yes.
That'll hit.
Good.
Cast this second or fourth level.
7 plus 2. 19 points. That's the one that Finnan was attempting, or somebody was already attacking.
Yes, it is. The mace of Marthamardoon comes crashing down across its head, and you can tell you hit it badly. I'm not going to go into gory details,
you.
but suffice to say, you gave it a crushing blow to the skull.
Crushing.
Deadly?
Not quite, but
Deadly.
it's very close.
Well, then I'm going to follow up with a long thing.
All right. No, you're not.
Oh no!
Natural 20. Hey, better now than with a dragon.
And it is a cantrip.
And it's the same dice that I'm using for everyone. Evil. Because that's how I roll. Literally. But, throw the other dice one. I had the blue cursed dice on
Which one makes sense?
It's a D20. It was the blue D20 that came with the, well, it's my dollar set. That was like the cursed dice that we all rolled with at first. Before I got you guys to get dice and some of your own.
Right.
But, okay, so that's your turn. What's left of the ogre orc army is going to attempt to do things. The two orcs are going to charge Victor, and they're going to use aggressive. So they're going to run at him extra speed for a bonus action because they're out of range of him. And the first one is going to hit 10 for... I can't tell what that was. That's a miss. Second one. Miss.
Now they're close to Victor. So
Yes.
sad for them.
The orc is going to use its great... The ogre is going to use its great club on Finnan.
Ooh. Does Victor have a... Well, they
Miss.
miss, so they're just mad right now.
Well, you know what? You're right. Victor is going to use one of his maneuvers at the injured one that missed. And he is going to take riposte and a 12 will miss. And one of his dice is down. But it was good of you to remind me. Right. The other one is going to lumber towards Victor and take a mighty swing at Kalimvor.
And it does not matter because that is a 10.
And it skids off the plate barding that Victor has installed on Kalimvor prior to the battle. And he kind of sidesteps a little bit with the swing, but it doesn't appear to have hurt him at all. And then the orc war chieftain is going to figure out how far that was. He's going to run up until he's within 30 feet of the orcs and ogres, and he is going to unleash a battle cry, which... And then he's going to make a bonus action attack against Victor. Sorry.
What was the significance of the battle cry?
So the battle cry gains all creatures that he chooses within 30 feet of him gain advantage on attack rolls until the end of the war chief, until the start of the war chief's next turn.
Okay.
So he howls something in Orcish, and they all howl in return, seeming to have gained spirit from his pry. And
And that's all of 3 or 4 people?
4 creatures, yes. He's going to make a great axe attack against Finnan. For 16 misses. Finnan has a 17 art class. Until he enchants his armor. That's his turn. Then the funny money, which you now see has only one eye, is going to run forward and cast it's going to bring its hands together as though clutching a spear, and then shake it's the spear that it's carrying in your direction, and a glowing spear is going to appear next to you and attack you.
Can I do a counterspell on that?
When he's making the casting, yes, you can declare a counterspell if you so desire.
Yeah.
Expend a 3rd level spell slot or whatever.
Third level.
3rd level, alright. So knock off 3rd level spell slot and it is dispelled.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. I've done a 5th. Didn't mark it off.
And he's going to figure out what that one does. And see if we can cast that and do anything with it. Okay. He's going to look over at his war chief and shake a small cloak in his direction while chanting something in Orcish. And now it is Lisbeth's turn. And then we are going to be done. She is going to charge forward and attack the ogre. That is engaged. Shut up. Engaged with. She's going to use, and she's going to have Shape Breath do the dash action, so she can double her movement without attacking, just to get her up into the area. So she's going to first attack the badly wounded one you pounded. No, she's not. She's going to wait. She's going to attack the other one. She's not going to take the dodge action, or the dash action. Shape Breath is going to plow into the other orc.
Okay.
Ogre, excuse me. That should be a hit with 22. That'll deal 2d6 plus 4. That's 13 points of damage to the uninjured ogre. And then the target has to make a strength saving throw. Yeah, it makes it. And then Elizabeth's going to make 3 attacks. 22. Tempting, but not yet. Yeah, 22. For 2 points of damage. 5, whoops. For 16 points of damage. So that's 23 points of damage total. 14 for another 10 points of damage, so 33 points of damage total. It's looking up.
Good.
Okay, and that is where we are going to call it for tonight. Sorry this was a little bit longer. We kind of had some bumps in the road, but appreciate you coming along and seeing what we had to offer tonight for this beginning of the confrontation with Al-Zalam the Ebon. If you enjoyed what you saw, go ahead and head over to Nightwalker's Bazaar if you'd like to support the channel. Check out the line of merchandise there. If you'd like to help the channel grow, the best way to do that is to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on post notifications with the little bell icon. Share it on social media, tell your friends about it, and as always, stay hydrated, stay adventurous, and we'll catch you on the flip side.